Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome once again to another installment of Black Theatre Workshops in Conversation with series. Really happy to have you all here with us this afternoon. I'm Quincy Armorer. I'm the Artistic Director of Black Theatre Workshop. And today is the 2nd of July, Thursday. I hope you all had a wonderful, let's just call it July the 1st. I hope you all had a wonderful July the 1st yesterday. I certainly did, took some downtime, some much needed downtime. And back today, and really excited for this conversation because today we're going to be talking to a very talented local Black artist, actor, who's also a friend of mine that I've had a chance to work with in the past in a couple of different capacities. Many of you will know him from his work around town, on stage, especially going back to his first production with Black Theatre Workshop was a school tour of New Canadian Kid that we did in February of 2012. And then from there, he's worked with so many different theater companies. His film and television career has just started to explode and blossom. He's been in projects like the film Stonewall, Mary Kills People, one of the X-Men movies, X-Men Apocalypse, I believe. And we have him here today to talk about a couple of different projects, but especially his most recent one, which is a series called The D-Cut, which I'm really interested in hearing a little bit more about. So that's enough from me. Without any further ado, please welcome our guest of the day, actor Mr. Vlad Alexis.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Vlad. How are you, my friend?
I love the internet.
The internet. Thank you so much for agreeing to sit down and have a chat with me today, Vlad. So happy to have you here to have you tell everybody about what you've been doing and what you're up to. But first and foremost, we're doing this over Zoom because of necessity. The first question I like to ask you is, how are you doing?
Oh, honestly, I'm doing good these days. The first couple weeks of June were tough, or even the first couple weeks of March were tough when we just started, being self-isolating and quarantining. It was just like, what is happening? What is the world becoming? And then the first couple of weeks of June, it was really tough and painful. But I am someone that decides to live in the joy and the optimism of the world. So I try to strive from that and just elevate myself and my community.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, that's perfect, because that's kind of what I want this series to be. There's been so much, darkness and turmoil going on, particularly for the Black communities the world over, and I think it's important that we remember some of the good things that are happening, that we share some Black success stories that are happening around the world. And so that's what I really hope that we're able to do, at least in part, with this series. And you're just so much fun. You've got this great, awesome energy. I love being in the room with you. We could be in the same room right now, but I'm so glad to have you here. So great.
Thank you.
So I'm going to just dive right in, because there's a lot of things I'd love to ask you about. But the first thing I'm going to ask is, do you remember when we first met?
Yes, I do remember.
Tell a story, and we'll see if the story matches with what I've got going on here.
The first time that we met, in person or online?
Let's say in person.
In person. The first time that we met in person, no, I do not remember, actually.
Okay, online. What do you have for when you met?
Online was me writing to you and being like, "Oh my God, I'm a new actor, and I'm trying to discover the scene in Montreal, and I need some advice. I need mentorship." And you were like, "Hi. What's up, Vlad?" and you just started giving me places to go and stuff. And that was back in I think 2009 or 2010.
Oh, wow.
And then fast forward to I think 2011. That's when I think we met for the first time.
Exactly. Yeah. And if I've got it correct, we met for the first time in person, as you said, at the Rialto Theater. It was one of the very first QDF season launches. So
Oh my.
probably like March or April or something.
Uh-huh.
And I remember it because Lucinda and I were doing an excerpt from Beethoven Lives Upstairs that we were about to do with Jordy. And after we did our scene, at some point later on, you came over and introduced yourself and we were just talking about it and how great it was to see some Black people up there.
Oh my God. It rings, yes. Like I'm just having a flash. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah,
Like,
9 years ago
yes.
now. So that's that I always remember. And this was even before I was hired
Yeah.
at the AD at BTW. And then, as I was alluding to your first production, I was hired that August 2011. And I had to replace the show that was planned to be the school tour that February, like, even before I technically started. And that's when I decided that we were going to do New Canadian Kid, and I hired Liz Valtez to direct. And she mentioned that she wanted to have you in the cast, and that was your first show with BTW. What was that experience like?
First show. It was, honestly, it was a full circle moment just because I admired you for so long, and I also admired like Liz, Warona, Tamara, and Mike Payette for so long. I had seen their show Human by Daniel McIver, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, by Daniel McIver. It was at the Seagull, and I remember watching the show and just being like blown away. I watched it like twice, I think, in the same week. You know, and I remember telling myself, I want to work with these artists. I want to work so bad with these artists. You know, fast forward to that moment when I was cast in New Canadian Kid, and working with these artists. You know, it was just like magical. It was a magical moment, to be honest.
And it brought you your first cover.
Yes, my first cover in the what was it? It's not the cult.
The Hour. It was
the hour. The Hour. Yes, okay. So I was not expecting that cover at all. Nobody told me anything about that cover, and I was in the subway. I remember in Lionel Group, and someone had the newspaper, and I was like sitting across them, and at some point I just look at them, and then I do the double take, and they see my face on the cover of the thing, and I was just like, "Whoa, this is so crazy. This is weird."
Yeah.
And I was obviously like my insights were going like, "Yay!" Yeah, it was cool.
Brilliant. So that was school tour February 2012. So yeah, it was like over 8 years ago now. And since then, I mean, your career has just kind of taken off on stage, on screen. You've been doing very, very well. So first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Some major successes going on there.
Thank you.
I want to ask about a couple of those projects in particular. I guess one of the ones that really, I think, made a name for yourself, if that's a terminology that we want to use, but like perhaps just a larger scale production that you worked on, was the film Stonewall, directed by Roland Emmerich, that was filmed here in Montreal. I think that there was a lot of anticipation leading up to that film. We were very fortunate to have had it shot here in Montreal, and you had quite a significant role in that show. Tell us about the role that you played and about what it was like to work on that film.
Yeah, so in the movie Stonewall, I played the role of Kong, or Queen Conga, who was the trans Black woman that was actually a person back in that era. So it wasn't a fictional character, and it was someone that was living on the street with one of the village girls. You know. Kicked out of her house and was forced to work the street and be a prostitute, like so many queer of colors, back in that time. And she was unapologetic, which was really fun to play. She had a strong voice, and she was just fierce, and working on that project, it was again, another full circle moment, because as a Black queer person, you know, we, a lot of time we don't know our history. You know, we don't know the history of being gay or being lesbian or bi. And and back then, even in 2015 or 2014, the history was a little bit, you know, there was a lot of, it was polarizing, you know? So to do the research for myself, and having done the research even before I knew there was a Stonewall movie, because I'm, you know, I'm curious by nature, it was interesting to be able to apply all that knowledge and also apply myself and be, try to be a voice for the unheard and try to be a voice for the marginalized and for my community, you know, despite how the movie was received, you know, because there was a lot of controversy about that, which we can talk about for sure. But I know that my role in that production was just to help another queer kid understand their own history, and also know that it's okay to be yourself, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on what that controversy
Yes.
was? I'm sure some people might have a little, knowledge of it, but don't know that many details. So I'd be
Yeah.
share a little bit more.
Well, so prior to the release of the movie, they released the trailer, which featured our number one on the cast list, Jeremy Irvine playing Danny Winters, this white cis man or boy from Kansas who is kicked out of his house and, you know, decides to move to New York. And basically, the story sort of follow him a little bit like a Wizard of Oz themed movie, because Judy Garland was a big theme in the movie as well. So the movie did follow him, that lead, and people start taking the internet and like just bashing the movie and saying that like it's been whitewashed. It's like, you know, erasing like the history of Black and brown trans women and queer people, and yeah, and because of that we got the movie like sort of bombed, you know, it bombed and people were very vocal about it. And it was like, just because it was my first movie, like my first big movie, and like I was, you know, number 3 on the call list, and it was just like, okay, like I have some clout in that movie. It did hurt me because I was the one, me and Johnny Bushell, who is a Latino American actor who's also playing my best friend in the production and playing a Latino trans woman. We were both, you know, the queens of the show, you know, like we're the sisters, and we were actually queer people of color representing for our people. So for people to not even acknowledge us in that way, or be part of that conversation, was hurtful, because I know that my intentions were good, and my intentions were to help educate people in my own way, or help people, you know, open a door, maybe like inspire them to like go to the library or buy a book about the subject and read about it and educate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I think one of the, I mean, if anything, what I'm hoping something good that came out of all that was that it did open up, or at least expand the conversation in terms of representation of Black people, of queer people, of trans people in particular. And I think in those, it was in 2014, you said there's been some serious advancement in that area, which I think is a good thing. But yeah, I think, you know, when it comes to being able to be the Black queer people telling the Black queer stories, it's it's a different kind of, it's a different experience, a different kind of project. The opportunities are so few and far between comparatively.
But to add to that, you know, like I'm very happy of how things went about with the movie. Like, not to say that like that's what I wanted. But I'm happy that it did open a bigger conversation about trans representation. You know, what are we doing to help the community to represent a part of the community that is the catalyst and the pillar of the community? Like, if it weren't for Black, brown, trans people, we wouldn't have the gay march that we have every year. We wouldn't have Pride. We like Stonewall wouldn't have been what it was, you know? So despite, my ego being like, oh my God, I should have been more successful, my spirit knows that it was the right thing to happen, and that it needed to open a conversation way bigger than me or than this movie, you know? And it's funny, just another like note, there's this amazing documentary on Netflix called Disclosure about the trans experience on TV and film with Laverne Cox and Angelica Ross and amazing trans pioneers. And at some point they talk about the movie, and like, it's so weird because there's a scene and I see myself in it, and they talk about the whitewashing of the movie, and I was just watching it with Davide, and I was just like, yep, that's what it was, I can't even fight it, because that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, I guess, unavoidable, and you can't really do anything. But what's really great is the fact that in the profession that we do, there's other opportunities that come along to where you can hopefully revisit and see if you're in projects that take a step forward in terms of that kind of representation and which happened for a project that both of us worked on together called Choir Boy. Gotta talk about Choir Boy. For those of you who are watching and might not be familiar, this was a production that Vlad and I were both in as castmates that played at the Santora Theater in October of 2018. So coming up on a couple of years ago. And it's written by Terrell Alvin McCraney, the Oscar-winning writer of the film Moonlight. And it was directed by the multiple Meta Award-winning Mike Payette. I mean, win-win right there.
Yeah.
But that was also a special experience in terms of being able to tell a Black and queer story. I could go on about it for so long, but like, what do you remember most, or what was the most significant thing for you to be able to work on that show?
Like, just thinking about it is like sending goosebumps down my spine, because it was honestly one of the most incredible and exhilarating experiences of my life. We're doing a show about Black masculinity, singing Negro spirituals with a cast of mostly Black people, with a team of Black people. I was just like, I think this was it was the first, if like, other than the Black Theater Workshop experience, it was a first for me to have, like, no, that's a lie. I did Obsidian as well, and Obsidian Theater is also a Black theater. But for the Seagull, the Centaur, to produce something like that and to elevate that voice was just like so special to me. And again, as a Black queer man, like, being part of this story was so important for me. Like, I remember when I knew what I was auditioning for, I was like, Lord Jesus, I better get this thing, because I want to be able to tell this story. This is one of my life purposes as an artist, is to like tell stories of marginalized people, and also tell stories that give a fair representation of our society. And to be part of that with amazing actors like, Chris Parker, Stephen Charles, Liz Dantes, Patrick Abela, Paul Renville, and you. and you, it was just so magical. And also, like, because I was working so closely with, you know, the young cast like Stephen, Patrick, Vincent, Chris, and us being Black men of different, you know, backgrounds and different sexual orientation, but still being a united front and being together and being a choir, like literally a choir, and helping each other and elevating each other and elevating like each other's Black boy magic. It was just amazing. And plus, I had Diane Nibadi being like assistant director, choreographer, and like she's just like the most loving, mothering person. And then Mike Payette. It was just crazy. How was it for you? Like how was it you like working with us and working that experience?
Dude, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had working on the show. But to be honest with you, Vlad, one of the things that I really liked the most about that experience behind the scenes, like through the rehearsal process and through the run, was being the Black guy who's perhaps of a little bit of an older generation than the five
what?
But well, just a little bit. Thank you. I appreciate where you're
you look 32.
Ask my knees and my ankles, and you get a different story. But what was really great was to be able to be there in the room and to watch the five of you together become that choir. Do you know what I mean? Like there was like I think one of the best things about that experience. There you are. Yeah. I don't know what happened, but my internet went crazy. But what I was saying was something that was so great was to be a part of the seven of us in that show all working together, and then to watch the five of you actually become that choir over the course of the 4-week rehearsal process was something new and exciting to watch because I saw it happen. It was great. I love that show.
And also, you know, just having, you know, Floyd as our musical director, who like just an angel, and also very, you know, he wants perfection from us, you know, and you know, with reason, you know, it's like he was not gonna let like some Black man showing up on stage looking like half done, you know. And I know that like, and that's the thing with the show is that because the stakes were so high, and also it was like the 50th season of the Santora. It was the first show of the season, you know, and because it is a Black show, the stakes were so high, so we had to work twice as hard. And it was probably one of the hardest shows I've done, you know, just in terms of like learning so many melodies and harmonies, and because everything is a cappella, there's no instrument at all. We are the instrument, you know. So it's about trust. It's also about building trust with the people that you're sharing the stage with. You know, it was just like the most therapeutic experience, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm so with you. I'm so with you. I would do that show again in a heartbeat.
I'm waiting for the remount, yo.
It was so I don't know. You know, every once in a while you've got those shows that are just like special in a way that you know that they're gonna be, but it even surprises you how deeply significant they are, even more than you anticipated. And that show was
it was that, and you know, and just seeing the audience's face, you know, whenever you're performing, you catch a glimpse of someone's eyes and face, and they were just like, some people were crying, people were just mesmerized, you know. And like, you know, we did win like the medal for best production, you know, like hair flip. So it's a humble brag,
but well deserved. So this is perhaps a good place for us to like move into the newest, or maybe it's not the newest, I don't know, you can let us all know, new project that you're working on that touches somewhat on similar themes, at least by addressing in the queer community. And I just learned about it not too long ago. It's called the D cut.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Nice image from the D cut. Look at that. There you are.
Just like giving some like resting bitch face.
That's not resting. You are working that face right now. Awesome. But so tell us a little bit about the show. What is it about? How did you end up booking it? What's the history there?
So this show is inspired by true events, and it is about this queer hair salon that is located in the back of a bike shop that is basically facilitated as a community space where queer people would go there and have their haircuts and like pay as they can, and yeah, and the show's about the community that we form in there, the 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 the, the people that we meet, and the fact that the shop is closing because of gentrification, and we're trying to raise money and all that. And so it has a lot of sub theme, about like obviously queerness, but also like community and gentrification, and yeah, and it actually, the story happened in Montreal. It was this trans man called JJ. Um, he he had the shop in Montreal behind a bike store, and was just helping the queer community to get haircuts, because we all know that as queer people, sometimes it's hard to go to a barber shop or a hair salon to get your hair did. The hair salon is a staple for a lot of communities, especially Black communities, where people go there. Some people aren't even getting the haircut or their hair did that day, but they're still in that salon, just like, just gossiping and dropping the tea, and sometimes it's scary for a queer person to show up in that space. It's like it feels unsafe. I remember as a kid going to like, my Black barbershop on Victoria Street, and every time I would go, I was just like, oh Lord, I hope nobody calls me out on anything, or I would just hear certain conversation and just like sort of like melt into my chair. So yeah, the show is about that. It's about having a safe space for queer people, and yeah, and it was like sponsored by, it was created by Dove and Shaftesbury production as well. And yeah, it's on Crave. It's gonna be on Kinda TV on July 26th for the rest of the world, for Americas and England. And yeah, it's gonna also be on the Dove YouTube channel.
So is it like use your words, Quincy, a multi-episode appearance that you're going to have on the show?
Oh yeah, I'm like in every episode. Like yeah, I'm like one of the best friends of the lead, who is this amazing actress, or actor, I should say. They are amazing. But yeah, like I show up in every episode. I'm like the stylish photographer with the joie de vivre, and it was really fun to be part of that project. Like I was actually shooting another movie like in Toronto and staying with my friend and director D.W. Watterson, who happened to direct the D Cut. And I was staying with her, and sorry, I was staying with them. They go by them now. And they told me, yeah, there's this project that they're asking me to direct. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And as they were saying that, my phone rings and I get an audition notice for that same project. I'm like, yo, look at that. So they helped me with the audition. I was actually supposed to play another role, and then Shaftesbury, who was producing it, and they're like, we just want you to play another bigger role, you know. And Devin, who was one of the producers, I worked with him on Code 8. So he knew about me, he knew my energy, he knew how I worked on set. So he was advocating for me, and DW was also advocating for me because she directed my close up at the CFC, my end of year project. So it just happened that like the stars aligned, and bada bing, bada boom. Then I started in December, and it was just amazing energy, because everybody understood what story we were telling, and that because of the story that we're telling, this needs to be a safe space, a safe set for everyone, you know. And it was so representative of like of society, and like the diversity of society, whether it was, you know, in front of the camera or, you know, the crew. We're just like a good representation of society. And whenever I'm part of a project like that, it just like warms my heart, because like this is exactly what I'm trying to do, is like change the way that we approach this industry, the way that we tell stories, the way that we hire people. And when other people are doing that, it just like shows me, and it confirms that we are moving towards a better place, towards a common goal. So, yeah.
Awesome. Brilliant.
So you can watch it on Cray TV right now.
Watch it on Cray TV, everybody.
Watch it on Cray.
We're still coming up on the end of our time, Vlad. But before we wrap up, though, I just want to say, because you mentioned something a couple of times. You talked about that full circle.
Yes.
And there is, you know, for me and you and BTW, there is another one, and I'm talking particularly about remembering having you in what was the Youth Works program.
Yes.
Back in the day.
Back in the days.
and then also as a mentee in what I believe was the first year of the revamped artist mentorship program that we currently have.
It was the first year in 2014.
And then now fast forward to 2020, where you're now one of the mentors to the new mentees. Talk about full circle. Like, I'm so proud to have you as part of the mentorship team, mentoring team at BTW, especially having you know, seen you come through and around.
Madonna. Thank you. I love you so much. I love you so much.
I love her so much. It's so great. Like, that's one of my favorite things about BTW is that the people that we get to work with. I mean, working with you, Warona, everybody, it's just so great. But as I was saying, you know, now that you are, you know, you did Youth Works, you did Mariah, great to see you both. Hey Mariah.
Hi, neighbor. She literally lives right there.
Oh, did she really?
Yeah. We hang out. Like, we have many wine nights.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna come to the next one. I invite myself. But so what is it like? How was it for you to now be on that other side of the mentorship program, to, you know, to have had the successes that you've had that we've talked about, and to now, you know, have some knowledge and experience that you can actually share to some other people who are coming up like you were back in the day? What is that like for you?
It's honestly like such a great feeling, like in a very selfish way. It feels amazing to be able to send or give my knowledge to like the next generation of up and coming artists. And also, I didn't know how much it would teach me things about myself as well, being a mentor, and being in that space and talking to other young artists that are sharing similar or different experiences. Like, the full circle is so real, and this year's talent was just like out of this world. And Mariah and Warona and you did amazing jobs with this mentorship, and the people that, like, you know, I had Patrick I had Patrick with me, and Schubert, as my mentees, and to see their evolution and to see where they came from, it's just like you can't help but smile, and you can't help but like, you know, congratulate everyone and congratulate yourself, because you're like, oh my God, I'm part of your evolution. You're like, you're my little brothers, you know. And it's just the one of the greatest feelings is to like give back, you know. And Black Theater Workshop has given me so much, like you know, you are my family, you know. I think you are my actual theater family. I call Black Theater Workshop my home. I, you know, whether it was through New Canadian Kid, the youth work, even did the Writers Circle, the Vision Gala, you know, and then the artist mentorship, and then being a mentor, and always being asked back to be part of the conversation and part of elevating our community. Like, it just warms my heart, and it just confirms that everything that I'm doing is on the right path, and I'm walking the right path. And I just want to send the elevator back to the people so that they can come and we can just like have a success party together, you know?
Oh yes, absolutely. It's so interesting because well, you mentioned Obsidian Theater a little bit earlier, and their long-standing artistic director of 14 years, Philip Aiken, has just his last day was Tuesday. And over the course of leading up till Tuesday, it was so great to see so many people, mostly Black artists, but not exclusively, talking about Phil and how much he's meant to the Canadian theater scene, and especially talking about having been mentored by him.
Yes, same here.
Yeah, exactly. I think mentorship is far too important. When I became an AD for the first time, you know, I was, my eye was like, I'm watching Philip Aiken, you know. I gotta see what the man is doing, and that was a big part of I think of me understanding and appreciating the role and the importance of mentorship, as you say, sending that elevator back down. It's super important to me, and so that's why it's doubly exciting for me to have seen you come through the mentorship program, and then now to have you as a mentor sending back down the elevator just makes me really, really happy and really proud.
Thank you. Well, Phil, you know, just to say a little something about Phil, like Phil is just Philip, you know. He's a Philip. He doesn't like to be called Phil, but Philip is a Canadian pioneer. Like, he's a pioneer of theater, and I don't want to just say Black theater, but just theater, you know. And he is like a wise, like one of the wisest men that just gives you the space to work, to think by, you know, just dropping little drops of knowledge that just goes like bloop, and then opens and expands your brain and your spirit, and gets you thinking, you know. That's all he does. It's like, it gets you thinking to how to better yourself. And we all love him. We thank him for everything that he has done. And yeah, I wish him the best. He's amazing.
He's amazing. He helped to change the face of Canadian.
Yeah.
Quite simple.
Quite simple. Know the facts.
Exactly. We are all the better as a result of it. Yeah. So thank you so much, Philip Aiken.
Thank you, Philip. Yeah.
On behalf of the grateful company and a couple of grateful artists and a grateful industry across the country. I'm gonna be so bold to speak for the Canadian theater industry and say thank you, Philip.
Yeah. Well, you're doing amazing things as well, Quincy. Like you are helping so many people, and I know that you know, but you're helping more than I think you even know. Like, you really have, like, you've shaped a lot of my career, you know, and that's just one person. So I'm just like really happy that you are doing what you're doing and that you are who you are. So thank you for that.
I appreciate that, Vlad. Thank you very much. I definitely want to see if we can uplift as much as we can. I was just about to go, and I'm looking over here. Apparently, there's a question.
Oh, a question.
So, yeah, we will absolutely take a question. Gio, here we go. What kind of stories would you like to tell moving forward? Thank you, Vesami Show, for that question, Vlad. What kind of stories would you like to tell moving forward?
Really good question. Thank you, Vincent. The type of stories that I want to tell are the stories that are not heard usually. You know, I'm tired of like the stereotypical tokenism kind of stories that have been played. Like things have changed and things are changing for the better, but the only type of stories that I want to tell are truthful. Like I only want to speak the truth. I want to be able to also have a group of people that look like me, that look different than me, that are sometimes scared to even speak their mind, and I want to include them in my storytelling, and things are even changing for me. I'm working on some secretive things. I just received an amazing opportunity that I will unveil soon. But through that opportunity, I want to just find the best creators from marginalized communities, whether it's a writer, director, actor, producer, and I want to put them together, and I want us to create a conversation together. Right now there's no black entertainment business, in Quebec, right? Like there are pockets of them a little bit everywhere, but there's no connectivity with those pockets, and there's no black, entertainment business. So I want to elevate us to that status. I want us to be, comparable to, the white cis business that we've known for so long, that we've only had on our screen or on our stage for so long, especially on the French side. Like I want to change that narrative. I'm tired of it, and
I do.
And my I guess my path is not even trying to challenge them. It's just creating my own path. I'm like, y'all will be challenged once you see us up there. You'll be like, they're just gonna look right and just do a double take and be like, oh, how did you get up there? It's like, because I was done with you and I was just like doing my own thing. But hello. So that's what I'm trying to do. It's just elevate us, tell our stories. And when I say our stories, it's not just the Blacks, but like it's also the Asian, Latino, brown,
yes,
all
the marginalized voices.
All the marginalized voices. It's just like, let's unite and let's, stick together and create.
Yep. There's a revolution coming.
There's a revolution.
Not wait to see the fruits of this labor. It's going to be fun.
And the younger generation too, like the people that came out of the mentorship program, they have a voice, they have such a strong voice, and they are ready. They're hungry, so they're so ready to be part of the conversation and part of change and part of the revolution. And I'm so excited for that generation. And it's about, using that generational society. And it's like, whether you're old, young, or whatever, it's just, let's come together.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Well, I have to say, Vlad, it's been an absolute pleasure to sit here with you and chat for a bit. I'm so
Thank you.
honored and proud to have you as a part of the BTW family, which you absolutely are.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for agreeing to sit down and just share with our community. I think it's you have so much to offer to artists, young and old, emerging and established, and it's been so great to just have your voice
Thank
with us.
you.
Those of you who are watching, thank you for being with us. Please don't forget to give us a like, give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We'd love to have you to stay in touch and to see everything that's going to be coming up for BTW in the future. We're going to be having another one of these conversations in the next couple of weeks. We'll let you know who the guest is going to be. Yeah, it's been so wonderful
It's been so much fun.
yeah, it's been so great to share and to have you here. I look
Yeah.
forward to seeing you in person
Oh my
and giving
god.
you one of these because we're all
Oh my
starving.
god. Thank you so much for having me. This was amazing. And again, I love Black Theater Workshop. It's my family, it's my home, and I just want to keep supporting you guys and keep supporting, our community, So yeah.
Well, Black Theater Workshop loves you right back, my friend. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Really appreciate the support. On behalf of everybody at BTW, have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.